from my city council meeting, and so I've been trying to play catch up. But this is what we got going on. So we have a tornado warning for the northern part of Collin County. That's not really going to affect the metroplex per se, but it's definitely something to watch if you live north. If you have friends that live north of 380, make sure that they are aware of what's going on north of McKinney. And we'll zoom in here a little bit on this particular storm. So there's not a, at least there wasn't a second ago, there wasn't a big rotation with that. Well, okay, there still is a little bit. There is a little bit of weaker rotation here. Let's see. Let's zoom in. Trying to get one right there. So I don't know that they're going to extend that tornado warning to the east. They just issued a severe thunderstorm warning in this box. For again, if you know people that live in Anna or Blue Ridge up that way, just give them a text, give them a call, make sure that they can they know what's going on. So just make sure they know what's going on up in that neck of the woods. All right, so let's go back to the reflectivity mode here and get back because we got some. That's the one tornado warning. I don't think they're going to extend that. But kind of the big news at the moment, as you can see, is this line of thunderstorms that's starting to get better organized. That you had the tornado part of the line up on the north end of the line, and then so you got this line coming down here from this. Well, if I get my monitor to work. All right, Jeff, one more time. All right. There we go. Okay. So right here, like I said, there's not a big tornado signature right there. It is more of a Boeing structure, which again means we talked about this earlier in my updates, my text updates today that was going to be our biggest threat today was strong and damaging winds. And so I think that's definitely how this is going to evolve. We definitely see some hail reports. You can kind of see over in this neck of the woods, west of Argyle, had quite a bit of hail, quite big hail actually, just on the other side in Wise County and western Denton County. We haven't seen a ton of that around, so that's good. But so the latest impact that we would see for us in Dallas-Fort Worth proper is this line of storms right here. So it's for most of the evening, it's been kind of moving in that direction, but now the line is starting to move more this way. So and if we put this in motion, you can kind of see that. Let's see. And I got my chat up, so I'm going to try to check the chat while I'm talking. Andrew, you got your flag for your tornado. Hopefully, we won't see any tornadoes, Andrew. Christy, yes, told your son he needs to move from Salina. This was like 2 times in a row or something like that, Christy. Yes, he needs to move somewhere else. Or don't move down here. He might bring the tornadoes with him. So those of y'all checking in, thank you, Mr. King. I just saw you at the meeting. Awesome. Thank you for being a fan. Okay, so back to the weather. So as you can see, this line is starting to take more of an east-southeast direction. And so, let me stop this here. So there's some good news and bad news with this. And so, and actually, before I talk about that, let me catch you up on this severe thunderstorm warning for most of southeastern Denton County. I would say the southwest part of Collin County. And so again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, $half size hail. I haven't seen a lot of big reports from hail, although if you look close, zoom in a little bit here. Maybe a hail signature around Double Oak, north of Flower Mound. So if you're in that area, just be on the lookout for some smaller hail, relatively speaking. But again, you can see this line is starting to, get a little bit better organized. So let's zoom out on this a little bit. Let's get rid of this. Let's try it. Okay. Well, I don't want that either. There we go. Okay. So we'll put this in motion. And again, you can kind of get an idea of how the line is going. So you can actually see, if you look close, if I can get this to work, you can see this gust front right here. So it's starting to move pretty quickly now. And that typically, when you see this type of line formation, you don't see a lot of tornadoes in this. Although, like I said earlier, you can see spin up tornadoes, and that's what we have to watch out for. That's at the edge of the line. And my good friend Angela Kelly had pointed this out on social media earlier. Spin up tornadoes doesn't mean you don't take it seriously. It is a tornado, and of course, if you're right under that, then you can definitely get some damage. So there's something that you want to, um, you want to keep an eye on. That is for sure. So this is storm system number one, if you will. So I want to expand out here a little bit, and you can see the tornado watch in box in red. You see some hail signatures in the past there. So something that I want to start to bring your attention to, not that we don't have enough to talk about, is this complex of storms right here. So this is sort of what we were talking about most of the evening, in the sense that okay, we would see this big wind threat, not a big tornado threat, although as we've seen, the tornado threat is not zero, and we've seen a couple of warnings. But again, the main threat with these storms will be damaging wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. And if you looked at that graphic I gave you earlier today, we had this hatched area. That's a area of enhanced winds 75 miles an hour or greater. That's possible. So we were definitely in that hatched area, unfortunately. So I think you're going to see two things happen within the next 2 or so hours. Number one is that you're going to see these storms continue. And if it's not storming where you're at currently, then it probably will be within the next 30 minutes, maybe to an hour. It depends on where you're at. So if you're in McKinney, Frisco, Louisville right now, Trophy Club, Keller, down to north of downtown Fort Worth, yeah, you're saying, "Hey, Jeff, it's already storming where I'm at." So so I get that. But if you're in the Garland area, Saxe, where I live, Wiley, Murphy, East Plano, anywhere in Dallas County, Carrollton, Richardson, South Plano, of course, Dallas proper. Yeah, you're not seeing a whole lot yet. Although if you look outside, you're probably seeing some lightning strikes or lightning in the clouds. So that's what we're going to have to watch out for. So let's put this in motion again, and again, kind of give you a better idea of what's going on in the general motion. So again, if you're just joining us, this is definitely something to watch out for. We've had a couple tornado warnings. I don't know that we've had anything on the ground, and my weather radio is going off. So let me see. Let me see what they're going to warn here. Okay. So the bad news is it's a tornado warning for that storm that this will pop up on the radar up there in northeast Collin County. That's the bad news. The good news for us, quote unquote, in the Metroplex is it's not going to affect us. So that's good. So new tornado warning for northeast Collin County and northwest Hunt County. That'll pop up on the radar here in just a second. Not anything for Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex at this point. So, all right. So let's put this back in motion here. And so, like I said, there's a couple things I want you to watch. Again, how these lines of storms move, and the other thing is the bowing structures. That is what we're going to have to watch. So, when you see on your radar app on your phone, if that's what you use, or just if you're watching on TV, those are the things that we need to watch out for. So, again, now, this is way up in north of McKinney, but again, here's a pretty good bowling structure right there that has a tornado warning. And this one is more broad, but this is something that is starting to take on more of a bowling structure. So it's definitely something that we're going to have to keep. That's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. So right now, that is out near Mineral Wells. And I think that, in its current trajectory, you're still talking a couple hours before it would reach the Metroplex. Now, there's a couple things we'd have to watch out for, because it depends on what happens with oh my goodness, let's try this again. It depends on what happens with this. As far as how this affects us is ultimately what happens to this line right here. Because if this line ends up moving more in a direction like that, then it might disrupt the atmosphere enough to where this might not be as big a factor. But that's a lot of ifs right now, so we can't depend on that at the moment. So again, if you kind of put everything in motion, you're going to see some storm mergers, line mergers, really, too. Let me hit the right button here. And so, like I said, the Boeing segments are what you're going to have to watch for. We haven't seen in these lines of storms, we haven't seen a lot of hail. So that's good. We haven't seen that. Not that we haven't any hail, but we have. But we haven't seen the big hail that we would see in individual storms. So that's something that we're definitely That's a good sign. But like I said earlier today, wind is our best, or not best, but that's our best, our main threat. It's actually, obviously, it's the worst thing. We don't want to see that. But you can see this line that's in Denton County and Collin County starting to sag a little bit south. So that's why I think if you live in the northern part of Dallas County, all the way across from DFW Airport to Carrollton, Richardson, Plano, Garland, Saxe, Wiley, Murphy, Southern Collin County, eventually into Rockwall, your weather's going to go downhill pretty quick. Not terribly downhill, but it's definitely going to be stormy, that's for sure. And again, if you look out to the west, west of Mineral Wells, you can see that line is starting to take shape and starting to be more of a Boeing structure. And again, that's what we got to watch out for, because if that line, let me stop this here. If this, well, I'm going to do that every time. So if this line is unimpeded by this line, at some point, then that's going to increase the chances of a wider area seeing a lot of wind. But if this complex of storms, well, I hope nobody's dizzy. I mean, this complex of storms, if this can maybe disrupt things a little bit, then maybe we'll have some. Maybe it won't be as bad as we think. But having said all that, by no means are we out of the woods. It's really just getting started. So that's kind of the latest. So let me catch you up to date real quick on the tornado watch. So this is a tornado watch I talked about earlier. This is valid until 2 a.m. I don't think that we're going to have to wait that long for the bad weather to come through. But that is when the tornado watch is in effect till I'm thinking if we're lucky, we can get out of here by midnight at the latest. But that is not a promise, that's for sure. Okay, so at this point, let me check my comments here real quick. See. Yeah, Misty's down south of us. Yeah, you're talking after midnight for sure, Misty. You're probably talking 2, 3 a.m. down your way. So it might be a longer night for you. Courtney, what time? Courtney Phillips, what time will hit Saxe? Yeah, so I think we're talking about two different storm systems here. So really this line that's northwest of us, it might be here within the next 30, 45 minutes. The line that's west of us out in Mineral Wells, if that holds together, it'd probably be after 11 a.m. for 11 p.m. for Saxe. Let's see. I don't see a whole lot of the comments. Teresa Nash, of course. You're welcome, Teresa. Andrew had a really good storm up that way up near Hal. Yeah. Yeah, y'all were way closer to that rotation than I wanted to be, so that's for sure. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate it. Elizabeth, thank you for you're welcome. No problem. Gail, yeah, no problem. I like keeping you on informed. And Patty, same thing. Get those doggy thunder vests going. You'll probably need it for those fur babies. So with this, I will sign off for a second. I will probably be back on. Valerie, what's the estimated time for Rockwall? Probably hour and 15 minutes if it keeps on this path. It might be sooner than that, but I'm just trying to be conservative because these lines tend to do funny things. So it's 9:40, almost 9:45 now. So you're probably talking 10:30-ish out near Rockwall if it keeps its current speed. And then one last quick thing, excuse me, I wanted to check on was this severe thunderstorm warning for Palo Pinto County. Yeah, they warned it for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So nothing, while 60-mile-an-hour winds is nothing to sneeze at. It's not anything, not getting into the 70 or 80-mile-an-hour range, at least not yet. Hopefully it won't do that. You're welcome, Vanessa. Glad to keep you updated. So I don't plan on having any other scheduling conflicts the rest of the night. So if I need to come back on, I definitely will. And unfortunately, I probably will. So it's about 9:45. Here's what you can expect. So if you are in anywhere east of US 75, if you're in Northeast Dallas County, really the eastern half of Dallas County, really southeastern Collin County, Rockwall County eventually. Then down into Tarrant County, if you're in South Lake, North Richland Hills, Fort Worth, out that way, you'll see some stuff too. And then it's not going to be something that's going to move out real quick, but definitely keep an eye on it. I wouldn't be surprised to see other severe thunderstorm warnings happen. Don't be shocked if you see some hail. Hopefully, it's nothing big, but that's definitely a possibility. It's not a big possibility, but it's definitely a possibility. All right, before I sign off, Cindy, is it safe to go to sleep? Well, that all depends on your perspective. um, it basically yes, but just have a way to get a warning if you do decide to turn in for the night. Just because, as we saw with the tornado rotation in this in the Collin County storm, it could come up pretty quick. So it's definitely something that you want to keep an eye on. But it's one of those things that we just got to keep watching it. And if you're right now, I wouldn't say there's anything to worry about as far as going to bed. But obviously, things can change really quick. So, like I said, just have a way to get a warning. That's the main thing. Okay, so unless something really exciting, quote unquote, happens between now and then, I'm going to sign off for now. I'll be watching it on social media. If you have a question, just hit me up in the chat, and we will definitely do that. But as always, I'm watching weather, so you don't have to. Hope everyone has a relatively good evening, all things considered, and we'll talk to you soon. If not, have a good evening.